keep them on the run. We're not going to pass until the secondary comes up too close. But don't forget, men, we're going to get them on the run. We're going to go. We aren't going to stop. We're going to go over that goal line. And don't forget, men, today's the day. We're going to win. They can't lick us, and that's how it goes. First, the two men go in there and fight. What do you say, men?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official Legion of the Leprechaun podcast, where I have a conversation with you about everything and anything related to our beloved Fighting Irish. My name is Mike McClure, your host, and if you'd like to reach out to us, the email is podcast@legionoftheleprechaun.com. That's podcast@legionoftheleprechaun.com. And for the coolest merchandise and apparel, and to stay on top of the latest events, head to our website at legionoftheleprechaun.com. Also, if you haven't already, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Lastly, our disclaimer, the Legion of the Leprechaun is not associated with the University of Notre Dame. All right, Legion family, welcome back to another episode. And this is not just an introduction, I can assure you that. It's our first actual episode where I have a conversation with you, the fan. So basically how these shows are going to work is I'm going to ask you a series of questions related to Notre Dame football. The first few questions will be just to break the ice, we want to know who you are and where you're from and what you do for a living, etc. And then I'll ask you a series of questions. But before we begin, I want to lay out some of the questions that I will be asking our guests, because I want to give you a chance to think about these questions, and if you would like to come on the show to be interviewed and tell us your story, we'd love to hear from you. So go to legionoftheleprechaun.com and fill out a guest request form, and we'll reach out to you and schedule a time for you to be on the show. So all right, now the questions I will be asking are as follows. We want to know, how or when did you become a Notre Dame football fan? And what's your favorite Notre Dame football game experience? And how did you hear about the Legion of the Leprechaun? And do you have a game day routine or a tradition? And lastly, what is the best Notre Dame football game you have ever seen, either in person or on TV? These are some, pretty basic questions, nothing too crazy. Okay, so let's get right to it. Let me tell you a little bit about our first guest. His name is Steve Mullen. Now, Steve is a former coworker of mine who was the guy who invited me to the Legion of the Leprechaun Facebook page a few years back. So, let's have a conversation with Steve. Steve, my man, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Mike. What's up, buddy?
Oh, just hanging out in the studio, having a conversation about our beloved Fighting Irish. So,
yes, let's do it.
Let us know, man. Tell us a little bit who you are and, where you're from and, what do you do for a living?
I'm Steve Mullen. I live in Buchanan, Michigan. I live in Wolverine country.
Oh,
but
boy.
Not too far from Notre Dame, about 15 minutes away, so I get to see the Golden Dome on a daily basis. I'm a delivery driver for Cisco Food Service. That's where I met you back in the day.
Yeah, the good old days.
To work together. Yeah, back in the day. I'm a volunteer firefighter when I'm not delivering groceries for Cisco, so stay quite busy. But I always make time on Saturdays for kickoff and tailgating.
Of course.
My schedule is always cleared on Saturday football season. My family knows if I invited to any family functions, weddings, birthday parties, from October to December or August to December, it has to go around the Notre Dame football schedule. That's my way of life.
Right. So, our question that we have for you is, when and how did you become a Notre Dame football fan? What's the story?
Well, back when I was younger, we used to have a junior basketball league in Buchanan. And I was playing, it was like in third grade, and I got on a team. And it was after colleges, and it was I happened to be on the Irish. I had a cool Irish basketball shirt and all that. So I kind of liked the colors at first. And then my mom and dad had some really good friends. Uncle Jerry, Aunt Loretta, diehard Notre Dame fan. Their house was decked out in Notre Dame.
Nice.
So every time I went over there, I was just you drove in the driveway. Their house, I'm not kidding you, was green and gold. It was green trimmed in gold, big leprechaun on the door. And I just got talking with him and went over and was watching some football games. I'd ride my bike over there on Saturdays, and of course he had season tickets, so I couldn't watch the home games with him, so I always watched the away games. And,
right.
He was just telling me about the traditions and the histories, and I was like, man, that is so cool. So that's how I kind of got hooked on being a Notre Dame fan, watching them come out of the tunnel on Sunday, Saturdays afternoon, with the sun blowing off their helmets, and just how he was excited. I was a pump, and that's how the Notre Dame fan legend started with me.
So it wasn't like you were brainwashed by a parent or something. It was just basically.
No, in my house, it was hard. I grew up, my brother was a Michigan State fan. My dad was a Michigan Wolverine fan. My sister was a diehard Wolverine fan. So on Saturdays, I always heard about Bo Schembechler and the great Wolverines. And I didn't care for the Notre Dames. I stuck hard. I wore my Notre Dame shirts, my Notre Dame hats. Got a lot of grief growing up, but dude, I was there every Saturday giving it back to them.
Oh, I bet. So, that's awesome, man. Like it's like kind of like you're the black sheep almost.
Right. Yeah, exactly it.
So, do you have a favorite Notre Dame football experience?
Yep, I'm gonna say the first time I went to a Notre Dame game was my Uncle Jerry took me. I was so excited I couldn't sleep the night before because my aunt actually got the flu.
Ooh.
So she couldn't go, and he had season tickets. So he called me and said, what are you doing tomorrow afternoon? I said, nothing. He said, you want to go to a football game? And I was like, I lost my breath. I was so excited. I was like, I couldn't get out fast enough. So I was all jittery, man. I went shopping, got a new sweatshirt, new hat, and just going to game day, driving up to the stadium. I was at awe, just walking through the crowd, watching everybody going through their game day experience, and just walking out of the tunnel and just opening it up, seeing the whole first time I've ever been in the stadium. And I was just dumbfounded. I just stood there and looked around. I was like, I couldn't believe I'm actually at a game.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah,
wow.
It was breathtaking.
Oh, I bet. So, since this is the Legion of the Leprechaun fans podcast, I got to ask,
yes, sir.
How did you hear about the Legion of the Leprechaun? How'd you get involved?
Well, I was a member of another Facebook group, and they were harsh. I'm not going to say their name.
Right.
They got into slamming players and coaches after games and threatening other players. And I'm like, man, I don't want that experience. So I was scouting around and I saw, just scouting around on the internet, the Facebook page, and I came across the Legion of the Leprechaun. So, I was looking and I was seeing some of those people. So I was, what the heck, I'll apply to join the Legion. So I answered the 3 questions, and first game was pretty cool. They're behind the team. They're supporting other fans. Nobody's bashing it, and I was like, this was like a family atmosphere. So I was like, this is pretty cool, And I got to meet some other people in there, and I said, man, this is where I want to be because I'm a diehard fan. Through thick and thin, lose or win, and so were these other people, and it was just great talking to other Notre Dame fans across the country that love the Irish as much as I did. And then I said, hey, I got a couple friends too, knowing you were a diehard fan from working with you. So I invited you in the Legion. I invited a good friend of mine, Jimmy Kabiziak. Him and I go to the games together, and we go tailgating together. We've been going together for games for like 15 years. So I invited him in as well. And dude, it's been an awesome experience.
Right.
The people I've met, the tailgating, everybody's open arms like your family. And it's like, this is the place I want to be every Saturday after the game, talking to Notre Dame fans about the game, win or lose. And Jason Wood has just created a great page, him and Chad and the administration. And, I was fortunate to get to meet Chad and Ben Elijah, and we seen some games together. We had a watch party, and then I got invited into being a moderator to the group.
Nice.
And I was like, that's just awesome. So it's been a great experience. I've met some good people through the Legion.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah.
So do you have do you have a game day routine or a tradition?
Oh yeah. Yep. And it changes if they lose.
Uh-oh.
So yeah. No, I get up, and I get on the internet. I scout the team Notre Dame's playing that day. I watch a little college game day to see how, they bash Notre Dame because, as well as I do, either you love the Irish or you're against the Irish.
Yeah.
Just to see what those guys do.
You love them or you hate them.
Too much in the heart. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and, just get up and see what's going on that day. And put my Legion flag out. I put my Notre Dame flag out. I got a Notre Dame flag. I only fly on football season.
Okay.
It only gets flown 12 times a year, 13 bowl games. So I put that out in the morning, and hit my buddy up, see what we're going to do before the game, if there's any Legion parties or what have you. But yeah, just doing a little scouting every morning. So
yeah, and you watch you watch College Game Day?
yeah, I watch ESPN College Game Day.
Yeah.
See what's going on there and see who favors the Irish, which I can tell it's usually one dozen every week, but just to see what they got to say, get
Right.
the perspective of the Irish.
Right.
And,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
So what's the best Notre Dame football game you've ever seen, either in person or on TV?
Oh, that is a hard one, man. We've seen excellent games. We've seen some excellent games in that stadium. I'm going to have to go with the 2012 Stanford goal line overtime victory. That's got to be my all-time pumped up, jacked to the max game there.
Okay.
In the rain.
Because you were there, right? Because you're a season ticket holder, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah. Me and my buddy Jimmy Kabiziak. So, yeah, that one in the 3 overtimes against Pitt was the heartbreaker. But I'm going to go with the Stanford one.
Yeah.
That one was an awesome one. The electricity in the stadium, it was
unreal, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's I can see how that could be a hard question because there's just so many to choose from,
Yeah, there is. There's some bad ones too. We watched this.
Yeah, I actually, well, you know this. I used to be in the Army. I served in Iraq twice, and I actually watched the Bush Push game when I was over in Iraq. And the funny thing was, with the time difference, on the Notre Dame games that we could watch, that were aired on the Armed Forces Network or the American Forces Network or whatever it was, we had to, the night games we had to wait till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because of the time difference. So, a lot of us, diehard Notre Dame fans would either, like go to bed, really early, or we would just catch a nap at midnight or something, or and try to catch the game. But it was, the technology wasn't the best back in. My first tour was 05, 06. And my second tour was 08, 09. So the technology wasn't the best, but when we still had, a lot of us had laptops and stuff, and there was, somewhat of an internet connection. But on the games they didn't have, like on TV, it was just so gut wrenching because, at that time you couldn't stream, the radio broadcast. You had to, so we would try to find the away team, like the away game of the away team, their broadcast, and try to listen to that, try to stream that somewhere. But the internet was so terrible. It was just so choppy, but you could at least kind of understand what was going on. But, yeah. So, well, I want to ask you a bonus question.
Sure. Go ahead. Fire away.
We're going to go back in time, folks. We're going to ask Mr. Mullen here on his experience and when the Notre Dame Fighting Irish won their last national championship back in 1988. How old were you, and where'd you watch it, and what was that experience like? Because a lot of us weren't even born when, I was just a kid. I was probably 5 or 6 or something like that when last time they won it. But tell us your experience.
It was awesome. I was 19.
Okay.
I worked at a grocery store. I was in high school, and my boss was a Notre Dame fan as well, and I always had to work Saturdays. So I told him, I said, hey, the Irish are playing for the national championship. I said, I'm going to have the day off, or I'm going to call in sick. I said, let me know what you want me to do. He said, all right, we'll just put you down for a day off. So, yeah, I was in my mom and dad's living room. It was awesome because my dad, my sister, and my brother were gone. They were nowhere in the house to be found. And just watching that's the first national championship I got to experience because when I started following the Irish, it was just a couple of years after 1977, and I wasn't really into it as I was now.
Right.
Watching that. I was at the head of my seat. I was yelling, jumping. My mom, she came in there and she's like, you got to calm down. You're going to knock all my glasses off my knickknacks off the shelf and everything. I told her, I said, Mom, this game is huge. You don't understand. This is for all the apples. I'll replace whatever I break. She's like, oh, just have fun, and she went on. But it was just watching it and just how the country came around Notre Dame's championship. And it was awesome. It was breathtaking.
Unbelievable.
Then I went out the next day and I was buying everything I had Notre Dame national championship on it. Of course, back then they didn't have the big variety they did now.
Right.
You can get just anything in national championship. It was very scarce back then.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I'm waiting for that next time they win the national championship, so I can go out and hoot and holler again.
Yeah.
But we've been close.
Yeah, man. So I know this is a kind of a sensitive subject, man, but we kind of addressed 2020 a little bit, man, with that whole season. I mean, you're a season ticket holder. I mean, that had to be, it was
bad, but I kind of lucked out because I had a pretty bad, serious work injury.
Oh, okay.
Where I broke up some ribs, and I wasn't going to be able to attend the games anyway. So,
okay.
But overall, it was disheartening because no fans in the stadium.
Right.
I had planned on going at least one game.
Right.
My buddy was going to wheel me in there for one game. But my wife wouldn't let me go to all of them.
Right. Yeah.
Secretly behind the scenes, I was going to go to a couple, but it was disheartening. COVID hit, but as it did all the college football teams, I was just glad to have a season.
At
least to watch on TV.
Right. I mean, it was. Being part of the ACC wasn't really that bad of a thing. Kind of like dip our toe in the water to see. It was interesting to see what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Kind of get that taste of what it's like to play in a conference championship and be a part of a conference and play. But at the same time, I don't know if I really want to do that again. But I like get back to the normal, playing the normal teams like USC and playing Navy and playing, all the. Take your pick, and Stanford and just all those regular teams that we have normally on our schedule. That's the kind of, and just going out tailgating and going to the games, that I think just having that whole year off. And, a lot of those bars and restaurants in the area kind of had to be struggling. They need the fans back in the stands. They need the tailgating to get back up. I think it's vital for businesses, but I think it's probably going to be a little more relaxed version of what it was last year, but unfortunately, but I don't know, man. We might not get back to full normal until the 2022 season, and hopefully I'm wrong. Right. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I look for them. This is just my opinion. I look for them for the 2021 season. I look for them not to be full capacity.
No.
I just don't think it's going to be to that point yet, which is sad because I think it's just going to be, very select few of VIPs, family and students. Which, what, if they have a season, I can watch them every week on TV. I'm good with that.
Right.
If I got to wait to 2022 to go back to the stadium, it is what it is. We got to go with it.
Yep. Yeah, man. I tell you what. Now, let's go back in time again to the Catholics and Convicts game. What was watching that game like for you?
Oh, that game was hyped. I mean, just the T-shirts were crazy.
I heard there was a lot of big stink with that. There's a 30 for 30.
Oh, yeah. There was, some, it's been a while ago, try to reflect my memory. I guess some student came up with that.
Uh-huh.
Got into some serious trouble.
Serious trouble. Now, were you at that game, or was that a game you watched on TV?
No, I watched that one on TV.
Okay.
I wasn't fortunate enough to get to that one. I didn't even buy a T-shirt for that.
Okay.
But I did watch the game.
Right.
It was good. I just kind of don't like the Catholic versus convict persona.
Yeah. It's kind of salty, but I guess. Yeah, I mean, it depends, last one, last question. A couple of them I didn't give you a heads up on. The Notre Dame, Florida State, 93, when we knocked off number 1 Florida State.
I was at that game.
You were at that. Okay, we found one you were at.
Yep, I was at that game, buddy. And let me tell you, the electricity in that stadium for that game was none that I've ever. Nobody sat down.
Really?
Everybody stood the whole game. It was like the crowd was in it. Everybody was in it. It was like, not only the football players on the field was getting it, the fans in the stands were loud. They were in players' ears. They were just, you just didn't, it can't explain it. You don't see it on TV, the stuff that went on. It was just phenomenal. I wish every game was pumped like that. We'd be undefeated every year.
Right.
I mean, from the team, it started at warm-ups. I mean, they were booing and yelling and screaming warm-ups. It was awesome. When you walked in, you just knew it was special.
Right. I mean, can you just imagine, having full capacity when we played Clemson at home, when we knocked off Clemson?
Dude,
can you imagine the electricity in the stadium if we would have had full capacity? Oh my God, dude.
It would have just. I tell you what, I would have been hoarse.
Oh, for sure.
I would have lost my voice,
dude. I tell you what. So I'm watching that Clemson game, and I got my 7-year-old daughter. She's downstairs with me, and that first series we go out and was it Kyron Williams that took it to the house?
Yep.
I remember just exploding out of the couch and just going, go, 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 go. And my daughter, she's just plugging her ears. She's like, what's happening? But I just exploded like, go, 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 go. Like, just couldn't believe what I was seeing, because my stomach was just upset the whole time leading up to the game. And then seeing that, took it to the house. I'm like, it's like I almost fainted,
Yeah, it was my buddy came over. We watched the away games together. I'm still on the mend from broken ribs, and I jumped up and I was like, yeah, you better sit down. I'm like, I can't sit down. And, we're high-fiving each other, and it's like I'm starting to get pain from broken bones and everything. I'm like, hey, this is Clemson. I can't. I'll deal with pain tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was electrifying.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I just wish the stadium was like full rocking, because I think the atmosphere, I'm almost 110% sure the atmosphere would have been like the 93 Florida State game. It would have been that electric.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah. Man, I just really excited to get back into normalcy when it comes to, from a football standpoint, and going out there tailgating and going out to games and but, like you said, even if we're not, which we probably more than likely probably won't be, back to normal for the 2021 season. If I can watch them on TV, or if I can go to a bar or a restaurant and sit there and watch them on TV, I'll be good for a while. At least give me that.
Yeah, we got Notre Dame football.
Exactly.
That's what I'm looking at.
Exactly.
Notre Dame football.
And we were just really, like I said, we were really lucky that we even had a season. And then as time went on, it became increasingly clear that we were actually going to have a season, but we were going to be part of the ACC, which was like, oh, this will be interesting. Like, okay, I don't care. We got football. So, the
ACC, that was interesting. I would say that was interesting. I wouldn't want to be in it every year.
Yeah.
Just because I like the travel nationally. I like every game is big. The ACC was all right, but I wouldn't want to be in it every year.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's anything challenging there for Notre Dame other than Clemson.
Right.
North Carolina, them guys are coming up, but.
Okay, yeah.
We got USC, or we got. I like that.
Well, Steve, I appreciate you taking the time, brother. This is a lot of fun.
No problem, my man.
These podcasts are going to be a lot of fun, and the guest list is slowly growing, and so I look forward to maybe we can get you on again, and maybe we'll come up with some more stuff to talk about, man, because this is going to be some good stuff. And it's going to be a lot of fun, brother. So, again, thanks for taking the time, brother.
Yeah, thanks for letting me.
You got it, man.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Steve Mullen, everybody. And I do apologize for some of the audio problems we had there during the conversation. I mean, it's our first day, so I do apologize. We'll get it all figured out. We're dealing with technology, so you know how that goes. But no, what wasn't a technical difficulty is you noticed when I asked Steve to go back in time to the national championship game and the Florida State game or what have you, I threw in there some little 80s theme music in there to kind of, set the tone for going back in time. That was done on purpose, so that was not a technical difficulty. I mean, probably some of you probably thought it was, but it wasn't. So anyway, I think we're done. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's cue the music. All right, Legion family, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Again, the email is podcast@legionoftheleprechaun.com if you'd like to reach out. You can also check out our website for the coolest merchandise, clothing, and apparel. And to our friends here in the Michiana area and to our friends across the nation, thank you so much for joining me today. And join me next time where I have a conversation with you, the fan, here on the Legion of the Leprechaun podcast. I'm Mike McClure, your host. So long, and as always, go Irish.